I did a BA in English literature and really loved it. Read books for 3 years. I love reading books. And came home and really wanted to work in the arts. So did that for a bit and then decided that I wanted to do an MA. The LCC course had a good rep. Seemed to me to be quite focused on the theoretical, which was good because I had this background of reading books and essays, and that's really important to me. I think that's still really important. It was great to have 2 years to hang out and think and read. I met some really great people, one of whom I now share my studio with. My practice is about people and relationships and bodies and non-normative ways of being, so like queer ways of being. When I was little, I used to go along to Arsenal and do their little like Sunday kids club, and just really loved running around and playing football and felt very queer in that. For me, it's more about the feeling of. So like the feeling of kicking a football or like boxing or cycling is very similar to the feeling of writing. It's just, I think it's about expression and expressing myself in like in my queerest way. It makes sense for me to bring sport and art or performance and music too, I think, together. When I say they think they have shared characteristics, I think it probably is something about like free space. Like if you watch like teenagers playing a sport, it's often a place where they can communicate amongst themselves and express anger or joy, like without it being framed by a teacher or a parent, in a similar way that art, I think, can function. Queer kids aren't encouraged to play sport. Art and sport are often packaged as white, cis, het, able-bodied spaces, and they don't need to be any of those things at all. I think I'm also interested in sport in a kind of non-competitive way. So like I'm not that interested in like playing with a team and scoring goals and getting up a league table, but I love to go to the park by myself and do kick-ups. For me, it's just about, a different way of like being with my physical body. And I think queerness speaks a lot to both those things too, in a way. Like, as a queer person, we have, I don't know, like my hairy legs or something, like, as something I love and also signals my queerness, so it's all really positive, but also, like my body hair was something I was bullied over, like as a child. I think both art and sport can make space for those contradictions in a nice way that relates to me a lot to queerness. Project with LCC is kind of feeding into all my interests. It's not really kind of definable like I do painting. It's more sort of like a DIY approach. Like the medium doesn't have to be specific, but the content of like queerness, queer bodies, sport, art, performance, social spaces, shared spaces, but maybe handing those things over to the people who mill around LCC every day and seeing what they do with them. So I'm creating these little, as I see them, quite queered sport spaces. So mashing together things like punch bags and boxing gloves with metronomes and disco balls and pillows and duvets, and just leaving them there for people to play with. I'm hoping that people use them in different ways. I hope that the kind of squashing together of maybe two things that aren't often squashed together might allow for lots of different possibilities. I'm very into like soft things. I think because I'm an introvert and maybe just a bit soft and sensitive. I like making work with things like footballs and duvets and, I don't know, everyday things that relate, again, very much like a way of being in the world. In terms of my practice, I think it's heading from different mediums and some really working and some me being crap at, so I quite like that. Again, it's all, if I can like learn something, then it's fun. I think in many ways I'm quite like practical, not practical in like a physical sense at all, but I can be quite like straightforward thinking and get things done. But I guess what interested me was LCC appearing to want to be more accessible, and so it appealed to me in a sense of like, okay, so if you're up for that, then hopefully you're up for someone coming and talking and working with you. I don't really think it's about trying to coax people into somewhere they don't want to go, but I think it's about maybe infiltrating the structures that are already there but not erecting lots of barriers.